why don't you just start off by just general introduction? Who are you guys? What do you do? That kind of thing.
All right. I'm Billy Richardson. I work in a factory as a manager, I guess, director of quality, I guess. So sit on my butt and play on the computer.
what kind of factory is it?
We make it's a rotational molding, so we make a bunch of tanks and coolers for different companies.
Very cool. Very, very.
Not Army tanks?
Very niche.
No, not
Think
Army
Yeti.
tanks, plastic.
Yeti.
Yes.
Is Yeti one of your clients?
Yes.
Yes.
Very cool. Do you get
Name drop there, yeah.
Do you get any? Are there any benefits to
Yes.
producing that?
Yes.
Wow.
Got 20 Yeti coolers.
We should
He's
talk.
got
I got
2 and he's
two
only
Yeti
been there
coolers.
like a year.
Yeah, we should talk afterwards. Cool. And Jamie?
I'm a physical therapist assistant at Good Samaritan. I do home health mostly, and also I work at the skilled facility.
Very cool. So, Billy and Jamie are brand new members to New City Fitness.
Yes.
Yes.
And we wanted to kind of dig into like their story as, kind of fresh as it's happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people out there who would like to do what you guys have done in the past few weeks. And for one of many reasons, probably, haven't taken action with it.
Mm-hmm.
And what you have done in taking action kind of sets you categorically apart. And we want to dig into that a little more and kind of flesh that out and see kind of what it took to be able to do that. So, I guess before we even get into kind of what's happened recently, describe health and fitness and your perception of those things historically throughout your life. How have you engaged with these topics? Is it something that you've even given thought before recently? Yeah. What has your experience been, thinking through and working through these things up until now?
Yeah, so I used to do taekwondo when I was a kid, elementary, junior high school.
Yeah.
And I was in wrestling and stuff like that. But really just, I don't know, got out of it, I guess, and just really didn't want to do anything else besides just sit on my butt and play some games and just got lazy and now, with the kids and especially with grown boy, 14-year-old boy at home too, it's like, want to be able to do stuff with them. And so, I mean, we've tried, and we've done stuff, we have had success in the past, with nutrition, and yes, we had success and then we fell out, but
Sure.
but yeah, so I mean, we tried Airbon, the protein shakes and eating healthy and that way, and so I mean, I know Jamie's always wanted to do it, but then like I kind of go away from it, like she wants to kick in and she wants to do it, and it's easier if the both of us jump on board because the support is there.
Yeah.
And from my side, it's just, especially this last year, just really sitting around and not doing anything. I did get pneumonia in both my lungs, and so just afterwards, just running around or walking. I enjoy hunting and stuff, and so just walking in the woods or wrestling with my boy is, I can just feel it in my lungs still, in my chest, and so adding the exercise into it, thought it would really help strengthen, those muscles back. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Go for it. So, it sounds like you didn't really give much thought to but outside of the Taekwondo, it sounded like you didn't ever give much thought to, like, the necessity for different lifestyle elements to kind of have their place. And you maybe felt some external pressure from your lovely wife desiring some things to look different, but maybe until this past year, this is probably, it sounds like this was the most kind of close it's hit you and affected you in a way that was like, oh shoot, I need to respond to this thing.
Yeah, and it's, you know, you just start doing your normal habit, you know, just coming home, eating, sitting there, watching TV, you know, and, you know, you get that dad bod, you know, everyone talks about, and so it's like, all right, no problem.
Why don't you describe what normal was for you?
Normal?
Yeah.
Just going to work. Like I said at the beginning, it's just a office job mainly. I will walk out into the plant floor and walk around on the plant floor a little bit, but it's not very physical at all.
Sure.
And so I'm basically sitting in behind a computer.
Yep.
Coming home and then sitting on the couch and watching TV and sitting at the dinner table eating and dinner, and that's basically it.
Sure.
We would go walking every now and then, especially when it's nice outside. Nice neighborhood, we can go walk around, no problems, and you know, we'd walk a couple miles, but then it's, oh, we're done walking around, let's go grab some ice cream now from Country Style. And
Sure.
So,
Sure.
But yeah.
Yeah. At least you walked there, right?
We did.
Quite a few times.
Yeah, it's only about a half a mile, so
and at least counters a little bit of it.
And my experience is quite different than Billy's. Like, I've actually lost almost 100 pounds twice in my life. When I was really young, I was a coach at LA Weight Loss in my 20s, which was
Where was that at?
crazy. Rock Island.
Okay.
And I mean, like, that's more like almost like a Weight Watchers type program. And then I was really into kickboxing when I was younger, especially when I went through my divorce in my mid 20s. And I was pretty small when we met. And I felt like I was pretty happy with myself. Like, I finally got to a place where I was comfortable with my body. And then after Addison and while I was in school to be a physical therapist assistant, I lost almost 100 pounds then too. And I had a goal that I wanted to be healthy because I was going to be working with patients doing exercise.
Yeah.
I was working out at another gym here in the Quad Cities, and I tore my ACL. High intensity workout. I was doing 2 workouts a day, trying to get to a certain size because that was my goal. And it was more about weight than anything, and really wanting to be a certain size and look a certain way, I think, than be really healthy. And in all honesty, I worked out, but a lot. But I didn't necessarily change my diet fully, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So I always felt like I tried to outwork my bad diet, if that makes sense. I mean, there were times where I did Weight Watchers. I've done, oh my goodness, almost anything. Herbalife, Weight Watchers, probably anything that you can think of. Like LA Weight Loss. I've been a yo-yo dieter. Yeah. And I mean, I was in pretty good shape when I was younger. I played softball. I ran. I did a lot of things. And I do enjoy those things. Like, in all honesty, like when I got back into shape, I used to, I've done the turkey trot. I've done Largo Marcino race. So I like to say that I walk. I walk, jog, whatever works, but I would get through a race. And I enjoy, and I actually get a lot of endorphins from exercise. So I enjoy that. And I missed that. I craved that. But at the same time, my body wouldn't allow me to do that anymore because I've gotten so tired, or I thought it wouldn't let me do that. Sure. But I've learned in the last few weeks that I definitely can do that again. Yeah. Maybe great. Not at the level that I want to do it at yet, but I can do it.
Sure. How's that felt?
It feels really good. Okay. It's an accomplishment, but at the same time, my body hurts. I'm tired.
Sure.
I'm sore, but it definitely feels good to be moving again. And then I'm frustrated because we haven't tackled that next piece, which I want to, which is the nutrition.
Sure.
But I'm really excited that we are working together on this because it's the first time we've ever done that. And I actually feel like I have somebody to do it with me and
Yeah.
accountability and yeah.
Yeah. So this is great. You guys definitely have two pretty dramatically different stories as it relates to health and fitness. Was the weight loss like the biggest? Was that the biggest driver for you? It was always an ambition to lose weight.
Yeah, I wanted to be a certain size, look
Okay.
a certain way.
Okay.
Always, yeah. I feel like it was always appearance more than anything.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So Billy, it sounded like you hit a point where it was more maybe like functionality based. I almost called it performance based, but really it was pretty low level function that you're looking to uphold, and realizing that shoot, I might be losing access to some of these things. Yours has been kind of this driver of the weight loss thing.
I think this is the first time it hasn't been the driver.
Okay.
I'm going to be honest. Like, we went on a vacation and we went on a 8-mile hike instead of the 4-mile hike by accident, which was quite interesting because the road was closed.
You went out 4 miles and forgot that you had to come back?
So it was actually up a mountain in Tennessee, and one of the roads were closed. So we were like, oh, it can't be that far up this road to go up to this waterfall. And we walked up to the waterfall, and it was 8 miles there and back. But we definitely struggled. We had a hard time breathing. Our kids were struggling. And it just sucked.
Yeah.
Because you want to go enjoy the nature that God gave you, the creation that he gave you, and we weren't able to enjoy that. Yeah. I mean, it was beautiful when we got up there, but it was a struggle to get there.
Yeah.
And to me, I was like, more than anything, I just want to be healthy. I don't want to feel like I'm dying if I want to go hike and see something, because we enjoy that. We both love nature. And that's something, if I want to go see a waterfall, or we want to continue to hike, or want to do things with our kids, I don't want to feel like I'm dying every single time we're doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my mom and dad both have some health issues, high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer runs in our family pretty strong. And it's just something like, let's try to change this.
Sure.
Let's do something. And I think that was extremely important.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So that's awesome. That how does it feel different this time around, knowing that your motivation has changed?
Well, first of all, I don't think I was really a Christian when I was doing any of the other stuff.
Okay.
Or maybe my view of Christianity looked different, if that's honesty. So I think that my motivation has changed also because I know that God has given me this body. He's also given us a lot of nature to enjoy. And I think that when I was unable to enjoy his creation, we took advantage of what the body that he has given us. I am working as a physical therapist. I feel like a little bit of a hypocrite, like, hey, let's go do some exercise. And meanwhile, I'm not doing the exercise. So I think that, that's basically the gist of it, is like we got to do something. Something's got to change. It's got to give. And God gave us this body. I need to learn to take care of it a little bit better.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'm not going to be able to hike with my grandchildren someday. I'll be lucky to be around. My great grandparents lived until they were 62. I'd like to outlive them.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I didn't even know half of my grandparents. So yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things that we talk about a lot is trying to teach health in a way that is separated from what people typically understand health to be, a lack of certain symptoms. Some of them you described, some of them you have seen with your parents and grandparents. We try to help people remove this understanding that symptoms equal sickness, lack of symptoms equals health. Because the reality is those things don't simply happen at some point. Those things, sickness is a natural byproduct of a lifestyle that produces these outcomes. And so I'm interested to hear some of the differences between your perspective. So it seems like you've at least experienced this feeling of, hey, my overall body weight isn't, this is a marker that I can look at that's like always kind of nagging at you that says, hey, this isn't the most healthy thing. Without some of those other symptoms, I guess, what was it that kind of got you to the point to be able to see that, hey, there's a bigger picture here, and what my normal is right now is actually probably headed in a trajectory that I don't want it to be going in.
Yeah, it's, when you go to the doctor's office and you take the stairs up to the second floor and you get winded going up to the doctor's office, that's kind of a big reality there. Like, I'm going to have to get in the elevator, just go with one flight of stairs, and that's not what you want.
Yeah.
And it's just being able to stay around just that, the strength, because, like, I was always, in high school, I was always the smallest kid in class. I was 95 pounds my freshman year going into wrestling.
Yeah.
And so, starting out there and then, just kind of just letting it go. Like I said, Boy is a big part of it. Jamie's a big part of it. Just being able to, go out there, throw the ball around with Braden, or go out there and wrestle with him. And, he's as big as I am. So, it's that dad thing in your head, can't let your son beat you up, so
It's a good motivator. I like that. So how long did you wrestle with these problems? So when was your trip to Tennessee?
It was spring break this year.
Okay.
So March time frame.
And when did you start identifying these limitations with playing around with your kids?
Playing around with the kids for a while. After the pneumonia last year, I still felt a lot of stress in my, now I carry around an inhaler.
Okay.
I never did before. And so, wrestling around with Braden a couple times, and I could just feel the pain, like sharp pain just in my chest, and
Sure.
never felt that before. And so, yeah.
Yeah. So how long? Tell me about the period of time where you had the sickness, you had this, hey, I'm not recovering from this very well. You had this vacation. Tell me about the period between these events and coming here, seeking some help.
Yeah, and a big thing, and what we see with Sacred City too is, a big thing with community. And that's what we saw here, just coming, just looking from the outside in, because, we do know you guys from outside as well. And so, just seeing you guys and just watching, seeing what's going here and just how the community fits together.
Yeah.
And that's a big aspect because, we had a Y membership before, but I'd go in and go ride an elliptical or go ride a bike and not do anything, and should be off on her own doing other stuff. And
Sure.
And so, just having that community to have somebody pushing you, and also it I don't know, it triggers those endorphins, I guess, back to in wrestling, somebody there yelling at you. Yeah, they don't have a plastic bat or whatever would have paddled driving you that way, but at least they're sitting there yelling at you, encouraging you. And
I'll talk to Haley and see if she's got any plastic bats laying around.
And I think, like, as I was kind of working with some of the patients, I mentioned some struggles that they were having, and like with his health issues. I definitely don't think I've ever seen, like, he got pretty upset and he didn't want me to call his mom or call anyone when he was sick. He didn't want to tell anyone. And I think that that was a little bit, not just pride, but just a little bit even deeper than the pride issue, I think was, I'm the leader of my house. And and he even said that if something happens to me, like, I feel like I'm letting you down. You had to pick me up. And I think that was a big struggle. And I think we had talked about it for a long time. And then joining our MCs kind of went to one larger MC, and Alex was there and Lynn was there. And I think seeing like, hey, like Lynn has done this and like other people in the church have done this, and maybe their experience is a little bit different, but I mean, why not give it a try? What is there to lose? I think like, yeah, we were worried, like, can we afford this? And then we kind of talked, can we afford not to do this? I mean, those were the two questions that kind of came up, like, can we cut out going out to eat a little bit more? Can we change our budget a little bit? Can we work on things and make sure that we can make our health a priority? Like, that was part of the conversations that kind of happened in that time frame. I think that we were both nervous. I think we knew that we needed to make a change, but kind of like, hey, where do we go from here? And we had talked about going to the Y. We talked about going to a gym right up the street from our house. And then you guys moved over here. And I think that made a big difference too. Like, it was closer, and the location is great for us. And we kind of passed that back and forth for a little bit. And yeah, I really think that was a big difference, like, honestly.
Yeah, you can't go to the Y and get somebody, you got to sitting there helping you coach. There's nobody there telling you the right techniques, so you're not getting hurt, and encouraging you the entire time. That's and
even if there is a trainer, like Haley texted me the other day, hey Jamie, you missed. I mean, I'm just saying, like, hey, you guys missed. Did you guys miss your alarm clock, or what's up? And I think even if you had a trainer at the Y, are they gonna message you like every time you miss, or a normal day, like, hey? And I don't know. And are they really gonna care that much?
Sure.
I don't know.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. So describe your experience. You're walking in here with some previous injury. You're walking in here with some like pretty substantial like limitations you're kind of coming out of within the past year. What has it been like to start?
It's been like, yes, it's been tiring, but it's actually felt good. Like, yes, we may be sore, but it's actually felt good. Like, I don't know. Yes, it's hard. Like, my work schedule, like, I have to come to the 5 a.m. class. And so, yeah, it's hard to get up at 4:30 to be able to get here. But yeah, you just got to push yourself, and the accountability is there. And so, I mean, I don't know. It's been good. Like, yes, we may modify some stuff, but at least we're using the same muscles as the other workouts.
Yeah, so talk about that experience a little bit. What's it been like to be in this environment and do things in a modified way?
Yeah, so like as a guy, you don't want to do a modified way. Like, you want to jump in and try to match or, outdo the other guy that's in there. But you got to remember, like, I haven't worked out in 30 plus years. And so it's like, okay, I got to take this back a little bit. And so that's why we started into it slow. Like, that's why we started off with the trainer and everything.
Yeah.
We were only going 2 times a week. Towards the end of it, like, we felt a little bit more confidence. We did the Murph with everyone here. That was exhausting. And we were going to split it, like, do half of the stuff in between and everything. But no, we
just went for it.
We went for it. Yeah, we did it all. And yeah, it was modified, but it was still tough. Like, you know, and being able to walk away and just say, hey, I did that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think coming in, I was extremely, almost a little nervous. Like, oh, I've done this before. I failed. This sucks. Like, oh my gosh. And then, like, just remembering, like, what it is to start again, you know, I honestly super nervous. But I honestly think, like, Haley made things pretty easy. She's pretty relaxed and chill. Like you guys, every single person that we've talked to, everybody in this community has been really inviting. Nobody is looking at you like, who cares that you're a different size? Nobody looks at you like that here. In all honesty, like, I walk in and we're all doing the same workout. We're all cheering each other on. We're all saying good job. I mean, and it doesn't matter if I'm using a box or for my push-ups or if I'm stepping up or jumping up. Like, everybody is encouraging, and they're not like looking at you like, oh, you totally wimped out. No, they're like, gosh, that's a badass thing. You totally did that. I mean, and I think that's pretty cool. It's like, they don't care what level you earn. At least I feel like nobody's looking at you like, hey, you know, you're below me. They're like, you just finished the workout just like me.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? Good for you. You're here. You showed up. Like, that's what matters.
Yeah.
And that's what I like a lot. Like, it's not like, oh man, you got so much more to do and keep, you know, like, busting your butt. It's like, yeah, maybe you got a little bit further to go eventually and you can build up your strength. But usually the attitude is, you'll get there. Keep on going.
Sure.
You got it.
Yeah. So what things helped what things helped to settle some of that fear and nervousness you were feeling?
I think just the environment, the people.
So
and
it was kind of like you felt nervous, you did it anyway.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
then the environment helped to settle that down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I literally think the
and-
day we walked in, it's really funny because I looked at him and I'm like, what are we doing? This is absolutely stupid. And then, like, I mean, and some days I still say, like, in the morning at 4:30, my attitude might not be the best, especially when I first wake up.
That's all right.
Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're still doing this. But I actually really like it.
But
And yeah.
it's the coaches, like, it's the trainers, like all the trainers, like, we've had Haley and now we're with Sarah, you know, in the morning, and it, like, just their attitudes, like, as they're coaching, as they're helping people out and stuff, like, that's been really good. And yeah, when we were going through with the training with Haley, the one-on-one, you know, it was kind of limited, you know, the 5 a.m. class, but now, you know, there's starting to be more people out there. And so I don't know, like I said before, it's the community, like the people that are there, like
The grace.
Art.
Haley has to
You know,
explain
those-
things 10 times or somebody or Sarah. And I mean, and not just to us, even
Yeah.
people who
Sure.
have been here
Oh my
sometimes.
gosh, yeah.
And it's really funny because, like, the grace that's in that, like, hey, how do you do? And they never get really frustrated. I mean, and if they do, they don't show it. I mean, they're pretty
Good.
patient, and I
Good.
mean, like, in all honesty, I feel like there's just a lot of grace there.
Good.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, and, you know, when you're working out with the trainer one-on-one and, you know, she's 7, 8 months, 9 months pregnant, you know, and it's like, oh crap, you're like,
Yeah.
I better keep going. I can't complain about this, you know, and she's doing the same stuff.
That's good. That's good. I didn't realize how much of a motivator that was.
It was.
Nice.
Oh, you're so funny.
That's awesome. So, what if you were to kind of use your imagination freely? I think I've asked you guys this before. If you're just to use your imagination freely, what would you love to have happen? What would you love to see as kind of like the green grass on the other side of this experience that you're jumping headfirst into?
For me, it's just, you know, being able to walk up and down stairs without getting out of breath. Hey, let's go for a hike. Well, instead of a walk, let's go for a jog. Like, you know,
You can see more. You cover more ground.
That's right. You know, let's go for a jog instead of just walking around. You know, we'll really tire out the puppy then, and you know, and we'll do that, and you know, it's just end goal really is just to be there, you know, for the kids and Jamie and grandkids someday. Not anytime soon, but down the road. Yeah.
Hey,
Amen. Yeah, I definitely am on that same page. Like, just want to see our family be healthy. I'd love to see our kids make better habits and learn from us. We're trying to get the 14-year-old here sometimes, but he hasn't woke up that early yet. But I think that, and he's pretty busy with football stuff right now after school. But I think that it would be awesome just to kind of, for us to teach our kids what overall health looks like. This could be a generation change. I mean, in all honesty, and that's a game changer for our next generations to actually know what health looks like and to not struggle like we do, be able to hike up a mountain if they want and to see God's beautiful creation. I think that the biggest thing is really wanting to live a healthier life and take care of the bodies that God gave us.
it's very cool.
Yeah, it is.
I don't think you've said anything. What questions you got over there?
How these typically go is Jarek has everything in his head and he doesn't fill me in on anything, so I just kind of sit here and try to figure out something to say.
I wrote it down over there.
No, I just want to commend you guys for what you. I mean, I know it's only been 4 weeks or so of what you've been doing, but 6 weeks.
Something like that.
But it's cool to see, and just to kind of hear what you guys said. To see that somebody, especially with your history of, like you said, you've lost weight a couple different times, and you had motivations that worked, right, to reach your goal, but they weren't motivations that lasted, right? So I've been talking with people about similar things for the past 10 years, and just to see the people that are actually successful with becoming healthy people, it's the people that have the right motivations, of course. And what I liked when I would do workshops and stuff, what I would call it is a big why. So they would have, their why has to be big enough to be able to not just make a change short term, to be able to have a change that lasts long term. And what I've just been hearing you guys talk about this whole time is a bunch of big whys, right? You want to be there for kids. You want to be able to do things. You want to be able to go out and experience God's creation. You want to continue hunting and being active. You want to be able to work with patients and be a good example for your patients. And then obviously when the family comes in and you want to use, I think the words you said, this could be a generation changer.
Yeah.
That's a huge why. And if that's the case, when you put together that type of motivation, having this big why, and then you throw community in there and you throw accountability with coaching and you throw just continuing to build the rhythm of doing it over and over and over again, that's a recipe for success. So I know it's only been 6 weeks, and I know it's been hard, right? It's been some suffering and pain and waking up early, but you guys seem to be on the right track to be able to be successful with this. And like we've said, I think kind of off before we started, was what you guys have done and what you're going to continue doing. That's the type of stories that we want to see happen here, at New City Fitness, is the people that aren't just here to lose a little bit of weight or to, just make a short-term change or even just reach a short-term goal. It's the people that actually want to change their life and see that happen at a generational level. And that's our overall goal. So it's cool to see.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big thing, and Jamie hit that on, just that same comment. It's just like, okay, you got that ugly stuff all before we were Christians, and, how can we make that generation change, from us to our kids in that sense, but then also showing them what it means to be healthy, because they're in the same habits, they're in the same habits as we are, let's sit around, let's go get some ice cream, let's go do whatever. And
I don't think you're going to change that.
Never know. You never know.
The ice cream part, I don't think you'll ever change Billy's love for ice cream. But I think that what we learned when Jarek did that last class is, you don't have to change that. He can still have ice cream. He might just have to change how often he has it or what that looks like.
But and it's just, if, that generation change, when we get groceries or if we do get any snacks around the house, sure, they're gone the next day because our kids are just, oh, all right. And it's like, where'd these go? Like, where, and it's like so fast. And it's just like, okay, let's, like, I don't want to put a lock on the cabinets, but I mean, like, let's see if we can get that generation change. It's
Right.
Yeah, we have to change our attitudes in the house, how we look at everything and how we shop for groceries and how we just cook food and everything else inside the house.
Yeah. And we have not started the nutrition part yet. So in all honesty, that's the next steps.
So what are the
that's
fears
where
there?
it's at.
What are the fares there?
Yeah.
Is it going to taste good? No.
Yeah, he's not kidding. He doesn't do
legitimate
green
face.
leafy vegetables at all. He said today when I got vegetables.
No, I've done it before, so it's not. And I've been cutting back like on the sugar drinks, like, and that's always been my big thing. Let's grab a couple Mountain Dews and I'll drink a couple Mountain Dews at work, and so it's been that change. Yeah, I am having some, with a little bit of. It's the sort of sweet tea, so it's not like the sweet, like, so trying to narrow it down a little bit, but I mean, it's a work in progress, right? It's getting there, like trying to cut that stuff out, but I don't know. It is
Which a sort of sweet tea is a little bit better than Mountain Dew.
Sure.
A little.
That's right. But I mean, it'll come, but just knowing how to do it, getting back into that rhythm, it's almost like a reprogram. You got to reprogram your brain to.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think we
To go a
definitely
different way.
need to not only like reprogram our brains, but almost actually learn what healthy nutrition is per se. Like, I mean, yeah, because I think that there's a lot of things that look healthy, the food pyramid, what have you. And I don't know, like my opinion is that a lot of those don't work. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right on that. I mean, again, back to doing this as long as I have, the people that are the most successful with continuing change are the people who know why what they're doing works, right? They understand, why should I be eating this particular thing? Why should I be moving every day? What is toxic and why should I avoid it? All of those things.
Yeah.
Why is sleep important? All that stuff. If it's just I tell them what to do, that last very short term.
Yeah.
It's because they never took any responsibility themselves to learn and to continue to educate themselves, and educating yourself is a good motivator as well. Every time you read something about here's why you shouldn't drink Mountain Dew, right? That's going to motivate you to not drink Mountain Dew. If it's just Jarek telling you, Billy, stop drinking Mountain Dew, that's probably not going to work.
Right.
Right. So continuing to learn more and more, that's going to be huge for you guys.
Right.
Yeah. So we're actually working on kind of refining how we communicate with people about the process by which we can help you go from where you're at to where you want to be, right? We're calling it a transformation plan. The step one, we say, is assessing where you're at, but then before the step of action, we say step two is this piece of education, right? So for you guys in the movement stuff, before jumping into the action of being a part of the class, you went through a pretty substantial education process of learning, hey, this is how we squat, this is how we press, this is how we take into consideration some limitations that you might be working with, right? This education process before digging into that. And like what Alex is saying, the education of why somebody wouldn't drink Mountain Dew is what we believe a much more important first step towards not drinking Mountain Dew. If not drinking Mountain Dew is the goal, the objective is not first to not drink Mountain Dew. It's to understand why.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
I think that's a good thing.
So if you guys were able to go back in time, let's call it, I don't know, you can pick a date. If it's to talk to yourself from 12 months ago or 6 months ago or a couple of years ago, if you could go back and talk to yourself, what in probably in a state where you're feeling some of those fears, some of those hesitations, what would you say to that person?
That's so hard because, in all honesty, I don't know if I'd ever go back because the growth that's happened that I had to have to bring me here.
Sure.
If that makes sense, like I had to have I think my heart had to change, my mindset had to change, and my attitude. So if I went back, maybe even 6 months ago before Billy had COVID, my attitude might have been completely different, which I think, like, it's just, would I have even heard it necessarily, if that makes sense? I think that the hard part is really knowing that you have to be ready for, I've been praying that God opens my heart to reveal different areas of my life that I need to change. And I think that when you're open to change and when you start asking for him to reveal those areas, you have to be careful because he's going to reveal them. But also, then you might actually be ready for that change. I think that going through Porterbrook was a big first step. And then just kind of, through the years, I think things have changed a little bit to actually allow us to come to that point. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's, and to me, it's, going back and just telling myself, get up off your butt. Like, stop sitting there. Like, yeah, it might be fun from time to time. Let's sit down and watch a movie or something, but get up. Like, stay active. It's, it's better for your whole family. If I'm up moving around and doing stuff, then the family's going to be up moving around. And, at some time, your kids are going to be as big as you are. And so it's like, you got to be able to keep up with them. It's you just want to be there. And like, how, yeah, it is hard. Like, how do you get that across to yourself back then? It's just like,
or even now, like presently, like back in, I think that's a daily reminder too, like part of why we're doing it, like repeatedly. Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
That's good to have in front of you.
Yeah.
That's that big why thing is constantly reminding yourself and each other of what that is. That's what's going to sustain the continuing to make the changes that you want to make.
Right.
Eventually it'll become just part of who you are, right? It'll become habits, just be a different person really. But until you get there, it's continuing to remind yourself.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's what we kind of say. We're that first step is to kind of move into, and you guys were there the day I did the nutrition talk. Kind of first step is to move into that phase of move from unconscious incompetence to, conscious incompetence, right? At least now I know what I don't know. At least now I know what I am, incompetent in. But then there's this stage that you're kind of like in and approaching in some other areas where it's like the conscious competence phase of, it takes a lot of work, but we're doing the work. We've got these kind of safety rails, right? Always keeping that vision in front of you. But then the goal, ultimately, what Alex is saying is that we do that so much, we practice this behavior so much that it shifts from, I need this reminder in front of me all the time, enough for it to come to the point where this thing is unnecessary, and this is what's normal. I have a new normal.
Yeah.
What you were saying as far as looking back to that guy 6 to 12 months ago, and it's almost like just being there, just being able to observe yourself in that state was like enough to be able to look at it and say, dude, your regular habits here, like, these aren't good for you.
Yeah.
That alone, right? To be able to have the awareness to say that, hey, this is not going to end well. Let's do something here. Right? That's a
So maybe, I guess, with you just saying that, maybe the issue is more pride. I mean, in all honesty, like, because what I just said kind of, I think that my heart was too proud to ask for help, to say that I even needed help. I was discouraged. I was frustrated. But that pride in asking for help, definitely, or to even to take that next step was a big issue. Like, I mean, like, I'm scared.
Sure.
And I'm too proud to say, like, I'm scared. I'm too proud. Like, I don't want people to judge me. I don't want to look like I need somebody else. And, that's we all need somebody else, right? But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure that didn't just go away when you showed up.
Oh,
to
it
do
hasn't went away.
It's continuing. And I think that's a struggle, that a lot of people have, is the pride thing of going somewhere for help, having to pay somebody else for help. All of that kind of comes into it. But again, there's so many people who have tried to make a change that have been unsuccessful, and if you just kind of look at, here's all the reasons of why they've been unsuccessful. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to address every single one of them, right? Why? Because we want to see people's health change, because we know that when their health change, their lives change, right? And then back to that generational thing, then we see things happen, very cool things happen down the road, right? So if we can help people with all of those things, so it's kind of a tough conversation we're actually trying to figure out that messaging right now, right? How do we get underneath people's pride?
Yeah.
It's hard because, especially like guys carry that pride pretty heavy on their shoulders, it's just like, and, like this morning, you guys got our brother-in-law and sister-in-law came in and, he's got a lot of pride too. And so, it's like, you come in here, you have to check it off at the door. Like, it's got to come off, because otherwise, you can literally work yourself and it's going to hurt even worse, like, than walking in that door. And so that pride's got to come off your shoulders. It's pretty tough.
Yeah.
And I think what you guys have here as a community is great in that sense. Like, you have a community that wants to do the workout portion of it, to make sure that you're healthy, making sure that you're strong enough, making sure you're fit enough in that sense. But it's the community also that's there from the health, from the food wise, from the the knowledge base. Why is this Mountain Dew not good? Like, having that type of support in that community is just above and beyond as well. So I mean, it's a big help.
Yeah.
And I honestly think, like, the expense is almost secondary. Like, I mean, yeah, it is kind of expensive, but you guys have a building that you have to pay for. You have coaches that you're paying. And in all honesty, what we have benefited far out already, just in the last month, far outweighs the cost. Which I wish I would have been able to maybe even tell myself then too. Like, yeah, it's expensive, but it's worth it, and it's okay.
But like, yeah, and the way that I'm looking at it too is, like, what are my health costs going to be later on? If we can improve this now, you look at, the diabetes side of Jamie's parents, and then my dad as well, and and we just stopped over there on Sunday, and he just had ligament replacement and repair in his hip, and now he's sick. And so now it's like, watching him go through this, like, I don't want to be in that situation. Like, I'm glad I'm here to help them out whenever they need it, but I mean, like, and it's good to have somebody there to help you if you are in that situation, but like, how can I make sure that I'm strong enough and healthy enough to not be in some of those situations? Some people, especially with the diabetes and checking your sugar levels and everything else, it's just like, I'm going there. I look at some of the reports, I got some higher cholesterol, and so it's like, okay, we need to start looking at this, and it's just been slowly creeping up over the last couple of years, and so it's like, okay, we need to check this and see if we can't get this back into in the past. So yeah.
Yeah. Glad you guys are here.
Yeah. So are
Well,
we.
thank you. We're
Thank you.
glad too.
Cool. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah.
Hope it speaks to some people.
Yeah. Hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be good to see somebody else.
Come
Thanks,
on, guys, join us.
Right on.
All right.
Good job.
Yeah.